A safari again into the old hunting ground Mababe, northeast of Maun. Camping on the grounds of the newly established Mababe River Lodge. The ablution facilities were of top quality. As it was still winter, I installed the sidewalls to the Bushlapa swing-out awning, which covers the kitchen area. The first afternoon in the Mababe area, just after settling in at the campsite, I went on to a game drive, and not far away from the camp, a hyena den with 2 adults outside and 1 immature one. A good start for the next 10 days, considering that it's now close to sunset. The staff of the lodge was extremely helpful. They pointed me to a hyena den in close proximity to the lodge. After having set up camp and before sunset, I paid this den a short visit. This is the first full day at the Mababe area. Game drive very early in the morning, starting again at the hyena den. The hyenas are very curious. They are inspecting the vehicle, the camera. Little ones are also quite inquisitive, crawling under the vehicle and inspecting everything. Very interesting. Baby hyenas under the vehicle might sound hilarious, but I was more worried about the hoses of my braking system. To flush them out, I periodically started the engine, which made the little rascals quickly run away. Hyena babies are pitch black at birth. Only over time do they obtain the typical beige coat with the dark spots, hence the name spotted hyena. Like young dogs or even young human children, they are very inquisitive. Hardly a moment that they were sitting still. There was a number of adult and sub-adult hyenas around to be antagonized. As there were also some babies of a similar age, they had plenty of opportunity to play, fight, and chase each other. This little chap is contemplating what nonsense to start next. The adults were exceptionally patient and didn't mind to get involved in the game. Although the adults must have been tired from the hunt during the previous night. A sub-adult yellow-billed stork. I find its hunting technique rather interesting. Standing on one leg, he uses the other leg trying to chase small fish or frogs out of their hiding place into its open beak. The African jacana occurs everywhere in the proximity of water's edges. Its legs in relation to the body are already quite long, but its toes are something special. They are extremely long, distributing its weight and allowing this bird to walk on water plants while foraging for insects without sinking too deep into the water. This area belongs, geologically speaking, to the Kalahari Formation. That's the reason why one can find sand everywhere. On the roads, vehicles churn the sand up into fine grain, creating deep tracks. In such an environment, water means life. Where there is water in the north of Botswana in volume and sufficiently deep, it is likely to find hippos. Here a mother with a calf and an immature hippo. The nostrils are pointing upward and will be closed before diving. Hippos don't possess voice cords. The well-known loud snorting is produced by pressing air through these nostrils. Hippos can remain for quite a while underwater without having to breathe. They cannot swim. Instead, they walk on the bottom of rivers or lakes, sometimes even rather fast. Some water plants were floating on the surface of the water. They had grown to form a large carpet of plants. The wind pushed these plants into one corner of this large pool. Exactly to this area, a large group of hippos had retired. After all, hippos are vegetarians, and these plants are a welcome alternate source of food. Otherwise, hippos would leave the water at night to feed on grass in the vicinity. Oxpeckers don't mind the hippos being dressed up with lots of water plants. Here the hippos lie at least still and tolerate the intense skin care of the birds. Even the jacana didn't mind the hippos lying inside this carpet of water plants. Undisturbed, it carried on foraging for insects. One has to imagine the size of this small bird and a 1.5-ton hippo next to it. One can imagine that in among this crowded space there can be aggression expressed by the odd angry snorting. The blacksmith lapwing is named after the high-pitched sound it makes. It sounds like hitting on an anvil with a hammer. This bird was perhaps concerned that this hungry marabou stork was looking for eggs. It flew constantly low-level attacks to drive the stork away. This marabou stork was on its own. They are gregarious and can be seen in groups. They feed on carrion and are often seen in the company of vultures. That does not mean that they are not occasionally pulling a fat catfish out of the water. If a marabou stork is feeling hot, it defecates onto its legs to cool them off. That's why their legs look like having been coated with chalk. The hooded vulture is perhaps the smallest of the vultures. It measures approximately 20 to 30 centimeters less in length compared to the more numerous yellow-backed vulture. This vulture was alone, which indicated that there was no kill by a predator close by. Otherwise, the trees would have been full of vultures. Egyptian geese occur predominantly in pairs. One has established that they pair for life. This waterbuck bull was present at more or less the same spot every day. This is quite being at the end of winter, the grass had been eaten short. One has to imagine that such a zebra can weigh up to 300 kilograms. Despite this, the cattle egret wasn't worried. For this bird, the most effective way to hunt for insects is staying close to large animals and wait until their feet chase an insect into the air, which the egret then catches.